Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy. Thank you for joining me for a live tarot session. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, September 30th, 2024, and it's a wonderful evening. Let's give a shout out to everyone here in the chat. So, great to see you, Isaac. Exit 101, much love. Good to see you, Nikosmas. Me Web, much love. Good to see you, Hollerhaint. Taz, good morning. Gandhi, much love. Zero Ermission Mez, good to see you. Daphne, good to see you. Much love, D Love. Lilith's Aaron, great to see you. Valerie, much love. Graham, great to see you. NA, good to see you. Jeremy, amazing to see you. All right. Creatrix Inc. Much to see. Great to see you. Much love. Much love. All right. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. I'm really excited for today. This is a really, really beautiful moment when the Virgo and the Libra meets. And I really want to talk about this energy because this is such profound energy. The Virgo uses the scales of justice. She brings that justice, right? She is the bearer of that justice, that Dike, right? She is that great goddess, Estrella, and we are in that moment celestially where we can see this power above us uniting, these forces coming together through the sun and the moon and reflecting this love affair that brings that justice to earth. And it's this profound moment too, right? Under this moon in Virgo, we can really get to the depth of our emotions. We can really strive to be our best self. We can really understand and know ourselves to our core. And we can engage in that perfection. And through that sun in Libra, we can balance this perfection and bring it into reality. We can utilize it to bring balance to the forces around us, to engage that perfection into the earth, right? Through community, we can take that Virgo energy and make it a communal expression. This beautiful, profound moment, And this energy I've been really, really, really feeling in a big way. And I want to talk a little bit about that goddess Estrella. Estrella is the last immortal of the great golden age, who ascends to the stars through her own perfection. And she abandons the earth in the Iron Age and is said to return, to be drawn back down to earth. And with her comes that justice. She is that force of change, that transformation, that polar flip. And we're in the moment when this is unfolding above us. We know this from some of the one of this great prophecies is told in Virgo, the Eclogue 4. Iam redit I Virgo riduant Saturnia regna. The Virgin returns and returns Saturn's golden age. Estrella is that virgin, right? Medea is that virgin. Hecate is that virgin. Diamuta, the mother of Lares, is that virgin. And that energy is returning back from that star to give a rebirth to herself as that divine holy child to come, that savior, reborn through that cyclical change, right? And we are in that moment right now too. Recognize that we are in the midst of the greater Eleusinian mysteries between the 27th of September and the coming new moon on the 2nd. We are under that energy of transformation. This is when the great sin occurs, when that virgin Persephone is abducted and brought to the underworld, where Demeter and Hecate have to search for her and have to help her return, and that changes the literal seasons. It's all cyclical. It's all flowing in this great unfolding. And I wanted to read for you guys a poem by William Butler Yeats. It's called Estrella's Holy Child. Estrella's holy child, a rattle in the wood where a Titan strode. His rattle drew the child into that solitude. Barum, barum, barum. We wandering women, wives for all that come, tried to draw him home, and every wandering woman beat upon a drum. Barum, barum, barum. But the murderous Titans, where the woods grow dim, stood and waited him. The great hands of those Titans tore limb from limb. Barum, barum, barum. O virgin Estrella, that can succor all, wandering women call out to Estrella that the moon stood at the full. Barum, barum, barum. Just beautiful, magical. Recognize that heartbeat, that pulse, that universal call that connects us into this cycle, right? We give voice to that great virgin. We draw her down through that connection, through that tacit pact, through bringing justice and giving voice, right? Through standing up and speaking truth, right? We flip the poles by saying what is the reality, right? That virgin who brings back that golden age, that Saturnia, she is that satanic force. She is Satan. That energy is that Aphrodite, that virgin. All right. When I was meditating this morning, I drew the priestess, right? And this really hit. And this is why I wanted to really talk to you about that image, that Estrella, because the priestess is the one who creates the image, the eidolon, who connects to the stars, who draws everything down, right? And she does it through the weaving, through that artistic creation, through the imagination, through that unconscious projection, through that sigil magic, right? She connects in that loving way, through that embodiment, through that bringing and invoking of justice as a transformative force, bringing it into form, manifesting it through creation itself, right? Putting it into your art, being inspired. That's what the muse is. Take this image, that justice, that transformative, divine feminine, that Virgo, that Estrella, that Medea, and use it to flip the poles, to reimagine these things, to take that lens and look and to clearly see that Satan is not what they told you, that Medea is not what they told you. You know, the world is far different, and we can reinterpret and reimagine these images. All right. We are now going to begin with our Ganapati Oracle. All right. Ganapati is that Lord of beginnings, the divine child, the guardian of the threshold, and the master of spirits. Ganapati, inspire us this evening. What's the message? And ensure our words are heard by those who need to hear them. All right. We begin today with steadfastness, being true to this power, being in that energy, right? Being aware and looking out, looking for the signs, looking for the synchronicities, looking and listening for that muse, and being steadfast in that energy of justice so that when you are ready, you can act, right? And you must be careful here, because to do this, you must speak truth, right? To engage that justice energy, it must be truth. It has to be reasoned and be true. Otherwise, it's dangerous energy to invoke. But when it is the right energy at the right moment, and you will know, it can save lives and transform reality, right? Powerful, powerful, powerful energy. So be steadfast, be aware, know when you are called and act, right? Which is the most powerful thing you can do. Let us continue. We are now going to go to The Shape of My Will by my dear friend Graham. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Graham? Inspire us this evening. Turn to stone and wear away. Turn to stone and wear away. If you do not act, you turn to stone and you wear away. We must embrace that action and that adaptation, right? We can't just sit there and do nothing, right? In our purity, we are nothing more than observers. We have to be acting and moving and adapting in flow. Beautiful. Okay. We're now going to go to, Faust by Goethe. Muses, what is the message from Goethe's Faust? Inspire us. Nay, but my blood runs cold when he is near. I am fond of people, wish them well. I long to see you more than I can tell, but sight of him is like an evil spell. What's more, I take him for a cheat. If I am wrong, God's pardon I entreat. That's the kind of time when you act, right? This is the kind of energy that demands justice, in a sense. When you know that there's an evil presence, you're certain of it, right? Interesting. And it's also about recognizing those reactions in your body and what they mean and understanding, right? Let's continue. We are now going to go to Arcana Mundi by George Luck. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from George Luck? Inspire us. Sibyls were women who, like Cassandra or the Delphic Pythia, prophesied in trance. 10 places in the Mediterranean world are known as the residences of the Sibyls, although originally there seems to have only been one. The Sibyl of Cumae is known from Book 6 of Virgil's Aeneid, and the ecstatic character of her prophecy is made clear by the poet. Wow. Beautiful, right? The Sibyls are such an interesting fixture of religion in the world because they come out of this Greco-Roman oracular tradition that seems to begin at Delphi in that great primordial history that is uncertain and weird. And that seems to spread around into many, many different places. And it lasts well into the Christian era in many different traditions. These Sibylline oracles, Chaldean oracles, these books of magic, this sortitic magic is practiced and is respected and understood, right? And Virgil himself becomes a centerpiece of this magic, right? We know that the emperors would engage the sortes using the Aeneid. Powerful, powerful magic, right? And then look at that. The Sibyl of Cumae is known from Book 6 of Virgil's Aeneid, and the ecstatic character of her prophecy is made clear. The Sibyl of Cumae, interesting. Must explore more. Right. Exactly, Gandhi. Kuma, Aka. We're back to that goddess that has been on our mind lately, Aka Laurentia, Diamuta, mother of Lares. Such a powerful force. Let us continue. We are now going to go to Underworld. All right. By the Sepulchre Society. Muses, what is the message from the Underworld? Inspire us. It's important to note that contrary to recent attempts to whitewash her character as a strong woman who is a victim of the patriarchy, Lamashtu is not a misunderstood female deity oppressed by patriarchal culture. The Babylonians had several very powerful female deities like Ishtar, Ereshkigal, and Antum, all of which enjoyed prominent temple centers dedicated to them alone. Babylonian tradition predates the misogyny of later Judaism by several centuries, and so Lamashtu cannot be dismissed as a feared deity simply because she is a strong woman. She is a feared deity because she is malevolent, deliberately operating outside the natural and divine order, and she preys upon those who are vulnerable and weak. Wild, wildness. Interesting. You know, those darker aspects of reality are still parts of reality. You know, interesting. Let us continue. We're going to go to Don Juan in Hell. All right. By Bernard Shaw. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Bernard Shaw? And now, since we are, with that exception, agreed so far, will you not agree with me further that life has not measured the success of its attempts at Godhead by the beauty or bodily perfection of the result? Since, in both these respects, the birds, as our friend Aristophanes long ago pointed out, are so extraordinarily superior that their power of flight and their lovely plumage, and may I add the touching poetry of their love and nesting, that is inconceivable that life, having once produced them, should, if love and beauty were the only object, start off on another line of labor, and the clumsy elephant and the hideous ape, whose grandchildren we are. Now, that's such an interesting line, right? There's far more to creation than just beauty. That's true. And as he points out, right, if beauty were the result, the universe would have stopped with the birds. How do you get more transcendent than that? Interesting. So then the question remains, what are we here for? Right? I think it's important to understand that creation is that experiential machine. It's about producing a response to trauma. It's about overcoming and expanding, evolving, transformation. It's designed to create difference, right? To enforce that cycle of transformation again and again and again. So we will ever persist and ever evolve into an ever increasing multitude of forms. Otherwise, we will grow stagnant and be broken and be forced to do so. This is just the law of nature, right? Let us continue. We're now going to go to Lord Byron. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Byron? Inspire us. Perhaps you think in stumbling on this feast, he flew into a passion, and in fact, there was no mighty reason to be pleased. Perhaps you prophesy some sudden act, the whip, the rack, or dungeon at the least, to teach his people to be more exact, and that, proceeding at a very high rate, he showed the royal penchants of a pirate. The royal penchant of a pirate. Oh, I love that. Let's go through it. Perhaps you think in stumbling on this feast, he flew into a passion, and in fact, there was no mighty reason to be pleased. You stumbled into something that you weren't meant to see, a consumption, a feast. Perhaps you prophesy some sudden act, the whip, the rack, or dungeon at the least, to teach his people to be more exact, and at that proceeding at a very high rate, he showed the royal penchants of a pirate. He was expecting to see something far more debaucherous than a feast, but he doesn't really fully understand what he is witnessing. And this other person recognizing recognizes his connection to that royalty and that interesting piratic view. Whoa, interesting. He showed the royal penchants of a pirate. Wow. There was no mighty reason, right? No reason there. Oof. Just grotesque consumption at the feast. Wow. Let us continue. You're now going to go to The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. Muses, got my hand. What is the message from Umberto Eco? Master, I said, today many things happen, grave things for Christianity, and our mission has failed. Hail Satan. And yet you seem more interested in solving this mystery than in the conflict between the Pope and the Emperor. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, that was too good. All right, let's continue. We're now going to go to Q by Luther Blissett. Muses, what is the message from Luther Blissett? Inspire us. Eloy has that expectant look that I know by now. He pours a glass for both of us, which makes the stories easier to tell. Eloy has that expectant look that I know by now. He pours a glass for both of us, which makes the stories easier to tell. I think it's about engaging in that sharing of perspective, in that ritual of the sharing of wine and the expanding of the mind, right? Through that purgation, through that performance and creation of art, in that engagement as a community, right? Beautiful stuff. All right, let's continue. We are going to go to The Book of Thoth by Aleister Crowley. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Crowley? Inspire us. Minds too indolent or too cowardly to think out their own problems hail joyfully this policy of appeasement and self-debasement. Minds too indolent or too cowardly to think out their own problems hail joyfully this policy of appeasement and self-debasement. Ooh. Those who cannot take care of themselves, those who do not have the strength of character to define themselves, look to others. And what do they get? They get controls and they get debasement. They debase themselves to appease others and to conform to other standards. Oof. High rebuke. Are you too indolent and cowardly to think for yourself? Are you allowing others to dictate your life because you desire to please? Are you merely in that state of appeasement? Are you debasing yourself? Oof. Intense. All right. We're going to do one final sortes here, and then we're going to call it and move to our tarot proper. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Egyptian Tarot of Thelema by Oliver St. John? Inspire us. Before performing any tarot divination, see to it that you have properly prepared yourself as an instrument of the seeing. Wow. An interest to prepare yourself as an instrument of seeing. And I know what they're talking about, right? To really engage in this, to be into this divination, you have to really put yourself into the performance, and you have to believe it. You have to engage with this as that poetic theatrical pursuit. You have to embody it in the flesh and believe it. It is so important. Take it seriously and manifest it in reality, and then it will unfold in your projection. Everything will work better if you bathe and cleanse yourself, if you imagine yourself, if you meditate, if you light a candle, if you think about it throughout the day, if you prepare. When I do this tarot reading, I begin first thing in the morning with the dawn, and I meditate and I draw my cards to engage with this reading in the evening. And then I think about it throughout my day, and I look and I'm inspired by the muses who then guide me to poetry, which then informs how I tell my reading and how I inform everything I do here. It creates that flow, it prepares, and it allows that sight to unflow. You have to really engage it. You have to believe it, and you have to draw it out. All right. If your tarot is not working, get dressed up and make it an event. I'm laughing, but it's true. It's true. You gotta make it transformative. Meditate upon these cards and envision them. I've said this before, and people don't take it seriously, but I am dead serious. Each one of these is a portal. Each one of these is an eidolon, is a gateway unto deity, right? Into transformation, into possession and embodiment, right? It is the unfolding of the temple of the muses. All right. We are now going to begin our tarot proper, but before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out to me, Snappy, ddts@gmail.com, or find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy, or Lady Snappy. All right. So we are going to use the Thoth Tarot of Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris. And we will invoke that energy of Saturn. And we ask them to dissect our life, to cut it up and put it upon the plate, and to show us the interconnections. How do we best move and flow? How do we overcome our present reality? And how do we manifest our true will? All right. And as always, the center card is the most important. Oh my gosh. As beautiful as I could have hoped for. The goddess herself, that divine virgin, Persephone, Astrea, Medea, right there in that Orphic egg. What is her name, right? Her name is she who is wrapped with the serpent in the egg around the heart. And there she is. Beautiful, incredible, right? This is the completion, the ending. This is the drawing down of the stars and the giving the birth to Astrea's child. That connection, the bringing of justice into earth. Virgo and Libra united. Beautiful. Let's continue. Wow. Wow. This is so beautiful. This is so incredible. We now have that art card, the consummation of the act of the alchemical wedding, the coming together of forms to produce the divine androgyne, to give birth to that goddess reformed. We are engaging in that process of co-creation. We need to come together in that partnership to see this manifestation reborn upon the earth through that loving creation. Oh, wow. So incredible, so magical. This is amazing. We now have Hermes. That masculine, right? That feminine and that masculine coming together in the consummation and the creation of the great mother reborn, right? That force to will, right? That gives voice, right? The conscious and the unconscious uniting to create that coming together. Wow. Hermes is that will, that great manifestation. It's imagining, right? It is about creating that image, you know, as much as that priestess does, so does the Virgo. It's about, or sorry, so does that Hermes. Together, they form that perfected whole that we see created in the art card. These two energies uniting to produce the divine androgyne. Wow. Where's this going? Amazing. The Nine of Wands, that strength, that fiery inspiration in its most intense upon the earth in the lower suits, right? This is about having that fire and that strength to move forward, to pursue that inspiration, to draw down those stars, to change, to engage this energy of that universe, that divine virgin, to become her and to manifest her into reality. Wow. Quite literally, that fiery, passionate energy that gives birth to form, that gives birth to the divine child. And that fiery energy upon the earth, the Princess of Wands, that Medea energy reborn, right? That energy that must be nurtured and cared for so that it can transform and ascend and become that perfected great mother, right? Wow. That fiery energy of inspiration, having the strength to care, to raise her, to engage with her, to pursue that virgin energy, that muse energy. Wow. Yeah. This is fate. This is our dharma. This is our purpose. And this is also what we need to strive and move towards, donning that armor, pursuing after that spinning top, which if you go to Virgil's Aeneid, you'll see in book 7 that who's that spinning top? It's that virgin, forever chasing after that virgin, forever pursuing that love, that desire. And look, that fire to bring her into creation, moving towards her in that manifestation, in that love. Wow. Let's continue. There is some conflict here. There is a strength that needs to be overcome. We need to engage, right? The flipping of the poles requires an engagement. It requires a rebuke. And it requires us to have the strength to go through with that rebuke, right? You have to speak truth to power. You have to be honest. And you have to flip those poles and re-examine that image, right? And you have to have the strength to tell and say what that image is. Have the strength to be certain and to express it. Saturn, Satan, these are not the boogeymen of the Christian church. This is the divine virgin, that Estrella, that great goddess who will give birth anew and bring about a new golden age. They twisted the mythology. They vilified our heroes. And we need to engage in that conflict, flipping the poles, and have the strength to persist to that greater, higher thing, to persist through that conflict, to engage when necessary, to defend, but to ultimately pursue that higher, to have the strength to transcend, to do that generational magic that'll bring about that true golden age, true transformation. Wow. If we can engage in this, there's much to be gained here. There's much to be gained. You know, sometimes you must speak truth to power. Recognize this is not about wealth, but this is about expansive transformation and inspiring real world physical transformation. That expansive 9 in the energy of the earth. If you have the strength to engage and to speak that truth to power, to persist, then what unfolds is expansive transformation, a reverberation that will inspire physical change amongst many. Yeah. We have it all here now. Now we have Dionysus. Dionysus in adoration of Venus. And that Dionysus energy has the audacity to take a leap, has the audacity to pursue her, right? With that fiery passion and with that love to unite, to connect to her, no matter the cost, no matter the conflict, no matter anything. All that matters is that great universe, that mother reborn. Wow. Such incredible energy. Just absolutely wild. I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to top yesterday's. That blew me away. But my gosh. I'm going to flip my camera here. But before I continue, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm. And if you would please leave a comment if you found that this resonated, that would also make a huge difference. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out to me, snappydts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. And all of the info is in the description. Okay, let's start here. The coming together of these two forms is what produces and gives birth to that Estrella reborn upon the earth, right? That gives birth to this project that we must engage, that will produce that reverberation, that energy that will transform our reality. And we bring her through that loving co-creation, through that generation of cycles, through finding that partner, right? This can be greater than the child. It can be a child. It can be that, it's that muse. What are you inspired to create? What where are you, what is your purpose? Where the muse is guiding you, that is who she is. Give her form. Draw her into reality. Make her real. Stand for that justice. Give birth to that transformation through yourself or through connection with others, and produce that extreme transformative growth in the physical world. The completion of the cycle, great Persephone, reborn and reborn. We just have to have the strength to pursue. We are engaged in that truly transformative generational magic, that ionic magic, that transcendent magic. Completing the cycles. We just have to have the strength to persist through the difficulties, to engage and deal with the strife and the conflict, to have the strength to speak truth in spite of the engagement, right? And if we can persist in this energy, we can manifest that great mother. We can realize that rebirth. We can achieve that new golden age. Wow. That energy of the Magus, that Hermes, right? That magician, the one who imagines, right? The one who speaks, that masculine force, right? That causes action, right? We need to say what we want and what we are doing. We need to speak for that great mother, for she is silent, but you know what must be said. You know what she asks for. And that is what the tacit pact is about. That is what the secret is that you are the one who imagines and draws her down and gives voice and stands for that justice, who has the strength to don that armor and to move and flow, who has the audacity to try, to change those poles, to take that leap, even if it means what appears to be certain death. All that is certain is the magic and the transformation, and that the cycles will change. Do you have the power to try? Do you have the will to draw her down? Do you have the strength to persist and to engage? Oof, intense, 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 intense energy. Let's do our cross. Dionysus in adoration of Venus, and that creates that divine child reborn, the holy child of Astraea, that muse upon the earth. It's that coming together of forms, the masculine and the feminine, to produce that divine androgyne in the art, right? That gives birth to new forms, something greater than the two. And that is what we are doing. Creation, manifestation, transformation of reality, re-invoking this image, bringing about that golden age again upon the earth. Beautiful. Wow. All right, we do this cross. If you have the strength to persist, to don that armor and to engage, right? To pursue her in spite of the conflict, in spite of the transformation, in spite of the cost, the gain is truly expansive. It'll transform the reality around you in ways you can't imagine, and it will reverberate across the world. Powerful, explosive change. Beautiful energy, intense energy about really pursuing that great mother, about having the strength to begin a cycle anew, to give birth to her once again, to come together in creation, that feminine and that masculine. Wow. In that art to produce that androgyne, to give birth to that child. But we have to have the strength to persist, to give her voice, to speak truth to power, to fight, to engage, to flip those poles, don our armor. But the result is the completion of the cycle. Expansive growth and transformation. That's the message. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. All right, everyone, we're going to do one final sortes, and then we're going to call it an evening. We're going to go to the poems of W.B. Yeats. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Yeats? Inspire us. He had famished in a wilderness, braved lions for my sake, and all men lie that say that I bade the swordman take his head from off his body and set it on a stake. He swore to sing my beauty, though death itself forbade. They lie that say in mockery of all that lovers said, or in mere woman's cruelty I bade them fetch his head. Oh, what innkeeper's daughter shared the Byzantine crown? Girls that have governed cities or burned great cities down, have betted with their fancy man whether a king or a clown, gave their bodies empty purpose for praise of clown or king, gave all the love that women know. Oh, they had their fling, but never stood before a stake and heard the dead lips sing. Stood before the stake, right, of those who suffered injustice and gave voice to the dead and let them sing. Oof. Intense. That's the message. All right, everyone. Peace and love. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care. Hail Satan.